That is me. I am Melvin the Pig, and I'm all wet. Now, it's an interesting story about how I got all wet, and I want to share it with you now. So let me take you back to the beginning. There I was, just a little baby piglet then. My parents loved and adored me. I was just a pig in a blanket. So as I started growing up, I started becoming aware of my existence and becoming aware of the world around me. There was a little red flower one time. I remember smelling it. It smelled great. As I continued to explore, I ran across men who were participating in very violent acts, and it kind of scared me and shocked me. So I ran away, and I ran into this other very weird situation where all of a sudden there was a big wooden object in the middle of grass. It looked like a boat or an ark, okay, but there was no water around for miles. I didn't know what was going on, so I walked away and decided to forget that entire situation. Well, the other day I was walking around, skipping and hopping on my hoofs, and I was smelling the grass, looking up at the no, I wasn't looking in the sky. That's impossible for a pig to do. But I was eating the grass, and I was looking down and closing my eyes, enjoying the blades, and all of a sudden, this man in a dress and sandals, he was standing behind me. And I didn't see him at first, but then we locked eyes, and we both immediately knew about the race that we were about to partake in. And then that man started chasing me, and even though he had sandals and a dress on, he was a little faster than my little ham legs. So he caught me, and he flipped me over his shoulder, and I was so scared, I passed out. When I woke up, I was inside of that wooden object that I previously saw in the grass. And as I looked around, I noticed all these animals. They were everywhere. They had camels, 2 camels with 2 humps. And they had elephants, but not the pink ones that go on parade. And they had kangaroos, and they had ducks that were dancing in merengue. And they had birds, and they had llamas, and then they had frogs. And when I saw they had frogs, I was like, alright, fantastic, they got frogs. And then they had lions, and they were feeling love that night. And they had little monkeys that were in the corner, and they were scared. And I looked over and I said, don't be scared, monkey. And then I ran into a rattlesnake that scared the crap out of me. It scared the pee out of me, rather. And then they had some tigers, and they had zebras, and they had giraffes. Now, the giraffe was the cockiest animal of them all, because the giraffe would stick their head out the window and said, hey, look at me, I get to look outside, ha ha. Yeah, well, I look up and said, yeah, well, I hope you get a sore throat, because that would suck if you were a giraffe with a sore throat. So there I was, just standing there in the hay, minding my own business, and all of a sudden, bam, 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 all this noise started making noise outside of the boat that I was inside of. And it sounded like a machine gun, except for this is the freaking Bible time, so there were no machine guns yet. It looked like water was falling from the sky. One little drop fell on my snout, as a matter of fact. It severely inhibited my oinking for the next 2 minutes, but I was okay with it. So I just decided, well, I feel safe inside of here. I am gonna just sit on this red hay. And the rains continued to come down, and the floods came up, and the rains came down, and the floods came up, and I just sat there on the red hay. So the water level was rising high, with the skies blue, and the animals were resting on the ark, and I just continued sitting there, apparently gaining weight on the red hay from not participating in any activity. So there we were, a happy bunch of animals. It stopped raining. That rainbow wasn't there yet, but all the fish and water animals in the water remained safe. There I was, sitting there, depressed from apparently getting fatter. Anyways, I remember one day, this man came out. He kept sending black birds out, and then he kept looking depressed when they flew back. I don't know why, but one day, specifically, man reached up, he reached into this cave, he got this white bird. It was a bird and it was white and he sent it out. And when it came back, it had a branch between its mouth. And all of the people started rejoicing as though the bird was successful in performing a trick that they had been trying to previously teach it. Then all of a sudden, bang! I fell flat on my fat back. I didn't know what happened at first, but apparently we hit something. So there we were, on top of a mountain, and there was colors going across the sky. And Skittles were falling down. No, that wasn't happening. But they opened up the doors and they said, hey, you are free to go. So we all started walking away from the mountain. Except for that lion wasn't there on top of that. But we all left, and here I am sitting in the grass, wet with soggy ears and a wet snout. And now, what? All the animals... It looks like all the animals are hugging each other from behind, as though the continuance of their species relies on this action. But here I am, all alone, and I was like, pardon me, I have to go work off some of this weight.